Good morning. In this video, I will talk to you about people that you will never make happy. I live with a person that's a senior citizen, and yesterday, this is a bottle of Nutella. And the first argument we had was, what was it? I forgot. It was about Nutella. The second argument we had was about putting it in the fridge. Because I told her that we have to put it in the fridge after, well, I just put it away. I put it in the fridge. And then she said, no, you don't. You can even read it. And she is right. A day later, I'm reading it, and it says, do not refrigerate or microwave, which is very weird. But she was right. I remember the first argument. We speak Spanish and English. And so she mentioned that Nutella comes from, and I was reading it, I was mentioning it to her. It says cocoa. And she says that's the same thing as cacao in Spanish. And I don't know if that's true or not. So that one I'll have to get back to you on. Or I'll leave it up to you. Make your own research. Now, the second thing we were arguing about, or third thing, this is a bicycle. Ooh, it's tight. To exercise. And we were arguing because I've known this person a long time. And when I was little, she would not let me hang the pictures, which I do have up there, on the wall, because she used to say, you're not a carpenter. So in my upbringing, all my life, I kept hearing that. You are not, you are not, you are not. So the way I do it now is, now I have a big brain. I'm a man. I'm a grown-up. I'm actually old. So now I say, oh, okay. I told her, get somebody to do it then. So she did. She got the neighbor to do this for her, a young man. It's amazing. She's happy because she got her. When I went to college, they told me to use the words equipment, tools, and equipment, because you can always deduct your tools and equipment, but you cannot deduct your toys. Oh, well, you're not going to make people happy. Sometimes. So, I value my time so much that I don't do things for some people. Mother Teresa said, never do things for people that are not humble. And I looked it up, and you could describe humbleness as, or humble as a person that says thank you, please. If they don't say please give me a glass of water, don't do it. Thank you for giving me a glass of water. All right. So another thing I want to mention is, last night she was sleeping, and the spouse and I, we both got up because we heard something, some noise. And when we looked, we discovered that while sleeping, she had, I don't know if she did it, somehow, could have been the cat, I doubt it, a glass made out of glass was broken. It was on the floor. but she was sleeping, so I was not going to turn on the light and start cleaning it up. But when I did get up around, or better yet, when the old lady here got up at 5 o'clock in the morning, the first thing I went to tell her is, "Watch out, there is glass on the floor." And she answered me, "I'll clean it up." Oh, that's what I meant to tell her. There is glass on the floor. I may have said, "You broke a glass last night." And she's quite defensive. She said, "I'll clean it up. Bring me the dustpan and the broom." So before we separated, I said, "The reason I tell you is because I don't want you to step on the glass and cut your feet." But she always wears sandals and stuff. But a glass could have fallen into her sandal, but I didn't check. Because it was farther away. It was farther away, but it could have traveled there. And sometimes your good intentions are misinterpreted by other people, like that type of person. The other topic I want to talk about is people that drain your energy. This doctor on YouTube calls them energy vampires, or people that are, another book I read was Toxic People. I probably just read the title, but toxic people you got to stay away from. Toxic in-laws, toxic. In another video, it's they talked about avoid people that have a victim mentality. I might have one. And another video, or the same video, they talked about, it was about marriage counseling from the 1950s. People that are too independent. They have no we. It's all I do and I. Very, very powerful persons. Very independent. I remember one time a girlfriend, my mother's car broke down. And so then a girlfriend drove in a new car and dropped off the keys to us. And we said, "Well, what's this?" And she said, "This is your mother's new car." And I said, "What?" And what she had done, she was an independent slash professional woman as far as like dress and working. And then the only question she asked me was, "Your mother does have $2,000, right?" And I said, "Yes," at the time she did. And she said, "Great," because I wrote out a $2,000 check. And they let her keep the keys to the car. And so then my mom paid that car. And when we moved to Miami, my mom told me not to use it. So I stayed living at home when I had a job at the stadium cleaning. But most of the money was going to, and I was only making $6.50 an hour, maybe $6.15 an hour. That was the money was going to the efficiency, which was $350 a month, plus the car payment, probably less than $200 back then. And then again, I was not allowed to use it. And if I would have moved out, my mom would have lost the car. So see, I was polite, and I didn't want to move out because I did want to, but I didn't have enough money really to move out. Without a car, where am I going to live? I mean, I didn't know that there were other efficiencies. I didn't even know about reading in the paper, looking for renting an apartment. I was clueless. I didn't know how houses were sold. You look in the real estate, you get a business card. I knew there were real estate agents, but I had no clue as to what they did really. Because in Chicago at that time, I had never seen a for sale sign. And in Florida, I saw that everything was for sale. You know, house here, land over there, things like that. Or my eyes were opened. So be better than I am. So another thing I don't do for this person that I do love, all right? I'm just, this senior citizen, she had to go to the doctor yesterday, but the doctor wasn't there. So now she had to get up again today. And she sleeps all day, so. But today she got up, and my spouse, the spouse, right? She says, how come you don't give her a ride to go to the doctor? And I told her, I walked home from Walmart one time because it was her car. And this is not too long ago. This is when I was an old man, about 4 years ago. We drove, or she drove to Walmart. No, the spouse drove to Walmart. And then there was some argument about, I said, thank you for inviting me, because I usually don't go anywhere. And she said, who invited you? And so I walked home. And the spouse, since these are conversations in English, she doesn't catch any of these situations with the old lady, her mother-in-law, by the way, the spouse's mother-in-law. So what happened was, what did they ask me to do? Well, the spouse says, I have to go before work, drop her off. At my lunch break, I have to go pick her up. She should be coming in now. I have to go pick her up, and then I got to get back to work. And I told her, you're the one that says that my driving is horrible, that I drive too slowly, that I move too much to the right or to the left. Probably to the right. No, probably to the left. I don't remember. I got to drive to figure out. So I haven't driven in quite some time. I mean, I drove the other month, about a month ago. Well, that's because I think it was raining. And we had already said we had a play date for my son. And so, and if you want to get across to the park, be a millionaire, have a car. A millionaire is one that with a car, right? Because it's very difficult to cross and to get into the park. All these cars are turning, and you got kids. One of them dropped a sweater on me one time, and I'm like, oh my goodness. Right when we were ready to cross. So I did cross, and then since these are older kids, I don't grab their hand. They're already, but yeah, I'm I'm listening over there. All right, be better than I am. And that one girlfriend that bought the car for us, for my mother back then, I was 19. She was a 29-year-old girlfriend. She she has arthritis and all that, but that's from living in the cold weather, Chicago. But what was I going to say about that car and about that girlfriend? And she told me that I was passive aggressive. Now that's a very important word. I see it as, yes, I could have done this for the old lady, but I didn't arm it. I didn't put it together because, number one, the spouse moves my tools. All right, so I do know, a month later, I do know where I have everything. But all the time as a kid, that old lady used to tell me, you don't know how to do things. And that's why men are very important. Because the one thing I do for my son if he wanted a cookie when he was 2 years old or 3 years old, and it was on top of the fridge, I used to pick him up, and then he would have to grab the whole cookie. It was in plastic, and he would have to. I opened it a little bit, and I showed him that I was twisting, and then he would he would take off the lid. So that was, and he was very special in the sense that he would always take out a cookie, give me one, and then he'd put his hand back in the jar and grab one. That was very unusual. But I taught him that skill where he had confidence. He wants a cookie, he always came to me, and I picked him up, and I enjoyed the hugging and all that stuff. I did the same with my daughter. One time she called me at work. She says, "Daniel, we're making cake." And I said, "Great. Put some under my pillow." And then she said, "No," because it would get squished. A very intelligent 3-year-old. I have that conversation. One day I'll find it. It was in my PDA. I love you. Take care of yourself. Be better than I am.